Hello again and welcome back to another one, and today we have a couple of topics to cover from reports that show Eminem hit a couple of new milestones over the last couple of hours, including a new peak for his latest single Houdini that continues to exceed expectations, and even Billboard is doing a little bit of trolling at the moment, as it seems some of their writers may have witnessed the initial reception when Eminem first announced Houdini a few days ago. And we'll expand on these new milestones in a bit, and believe it or not, following the outrage on TikTok by some younger music fans over the lyrics on Houdini, especially the Megan Thee Stallion bar that got thousands of panties in a bunch, some TikTokers have now gone viral with response videos to those getting outraged, especially those who are trying to rewrite hip-hop history. More on this in a moment. And today we also have one that takes us back to when Benzino's daughter, Coi Leray, pretty much disowned her father, Benzino, over some of the comments he made on a podcast about R. Kelly. And boy, Benzino has now addressed the fact that Coi Leray cut him off in the most Benzino way possible.
Good Lord!
And if you've been following our coverage over the last few months, you know that spells disaster incoming. And we'll get to this at the latter part of the video, as users on Twitter are still in shock over Benzino's latest comments. And today we'll be starting with Drake and his cover of Hey There Delilah that sparked backlash for the rapper. And somehow word about this got to the Plain White T's that Drake remixed their classic #1 hit, and it went exactly as expected. Check it out from Twitter. The T's were too stunned to speak.
Kilometers.
Doesn't scan as well as miles. Here we go.
Walk on the line, no, I'm late cause there's bad traffic. I just showed my dog a gram. He said he knows a man that slapped it. I'm so cheap.
It's not Drake.
You're looking sweet.
It's crazy that everybody thinks that it's real.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no
it
fucking
seems
way.
like it's very obvious. I don't know. But it's cool. Whatever.
This is similar to when Drake's push-ups first leaked, when people were convinced that it wasn't real and that it's gotta be AI. And some have reiterated that's not cool. They ruined a classic for a parody song, and no, it is Drake. And as you can see, they gave the most polite, disgusted look, and some have even expanded. How much terrible does a song have to be that the original singers don't even want to believe it is real? Or is this just some kind of PR? Cause wagwan with this blood clot noise. And similar to what Drake got for Tailor-Made Freestyle, some are now suggesting that cease and desist is gonna hit like crack in the 80s. And when it comes to Drake, the fan base were in for another letdown. When reports hit, Drake has deleted all of his Kendrick Lamar diss tracks on IG, and takes like these blew up. The final stage of grief, acceptance. And to think there was a moment when Drake was pretty much begging Kendrick to respond for days, while Academics was even running a countdown on Twitter at that time, like day 13, Kendrick yet to respond. And moving on to the next point, before we get to the latest from Houdini, it has been a couple of huge milestones for Eminem this week, as reports revealed the Eminem Show just hit 7 billion streams on Spotify, which makes it the most streamed 2000s album on the platform, the 10th most streamed rap album on the platform, and it is showing no signs of slowing down, averaging over 4.3 million streams on a daily basis. But that's not all when it comes to Eminem's catalog, as we got more. Eminem's When I'm Gone music video completed 1 billion views on YouTube. It is his record 7th music video to reach this milestone, and this comes just days after Eminem's daughter's wedding, which is quite the turnaround, seeing as after When I'm Gone dropped, Eminem nearly passed. And in response to the milestone, some have expanded. Everyone talks about Mockingbird, but I find When I'm Gone so true and touching. This way of telling the story from both point of views, the child's, makes the story and the feelings stronger. And the way Eminem's been beating the allegations that his music did not age well has been a sight to behold, as no one from his era comes close to this when it comes to their catalog. And moving on to Houdini's performance, seeing as Dua Lipa's fans were going off on Eminem when the single was announced, it turns out Eminem's Houdini smashed all the debut records by Dua Lipa's Houdini on streaming platforms. But more has happened, and this is where Billboard's latest report comes in. Eminem's massive Houdini debut lifts his whole catalog, and hits by Steve Miller Band and Dua Lipa. Ooh. They certainly knew what they were doing with this report, and we got rumors of Eminem performing in a few hours in Detroit thanks to Big Sean's IG story that pretty much confirmed it, and we got another confirmation of another Eminem performance slated for August 3rd for the Crawford vs. Madrimov boxing match. And back to Houdini's performance so far, it is another day and another peak on Spotify. Check it out. Eminem's Houdini reaches a new peak of 8.8 million daily streams on Spotify. It is now challenging for a potential #1 debut on Billboard. It would be his first in over a decade. Radio play is pretty much non-existent for Houdini, although it is climbing in the United States. And right now, the only mediums that could get it to #1 would be pure sales and streams. And while we wait and see, in the United Kingdom, Houdini looks to have locked in for #1. And even in Canada, Eminem's Houdini is set to debut at #1. And would you look at that? 0% radio play. But many hip-hop heads on Twitter will swear that Eminem is pop. But as you can see, Eminem is so pop that his comeback smash hit set to go #1 in Canada is doing so by getting 0% airplay on its release week. And while this was on, some TikTokers had to set the record straight, seeing as a couple of younger music fans thought they could rewrite history, all because they failed to understand lyrics on a song, since this is the same group that are convinced Eminem dissed Megan on Houdini, and school was in session when one of these users claimed that Stan as it is used today existed even before Eminem released Stan, and school was in session.
That's cool. I'm 100% positive that the term did not exist before Eminem released the song Stan, because I was a teenager when the song Stan came out. I had lived experience before and after the song came out. Nobody used the term Stan that way until the song came out. Shortly after the song came out, Nas used the term in a song, and after that, everybody was widely using the term. Nas used the term because of how much Nas respects Eminem, by the way. So this should shut up all of the commenters talking about how Eminem is not welcome in rap culture. Everybody that they respect the most in rap respects Eminem and his fearsome pen hand and his deep respect and love of the game and his monumental historical contributions, not just to hip-hop culture, but to language itself. Eminem gave us Stan. I'm 100% sure because I'm 38 years old. If you don't remember what 9/11 was like, please listen to your elders so you can learn from us. I'm trying to do the same for you.
And thanks to a loud minority of Gen Zers who choose to be willfully ignorant, the whole generation keeps catching strays. Check this out. These Gen Z people trying too hard. Nobody of your generation in the rap game can touch the garment of Eminem. They should be grateful to witness greatness in real time, not all those wacky songs they call rap. And we got more on this note. I feel so old when folks try to say the term Stan wasn't created by Eminem, LOL. And moving on to the next point. If you recall, a few weeks ago, we covered the story of when Coi Leray pretty much disowned Benzino over the comments he made about R. Kelly. Check out a snippet from back then, from the We in Miami podcast that started the crap storm.
Do you think we should give R. Kelly a second chance?
Everybody deserves a second chance. I know that Elvis, a lot of them was 14, 15. I know Nick with young girls. I'm not into that. Again, the legal age is 16 years old. So does that make it right if it does it? Yes or no? To everybody on the table. If a dates a 16-year-old.
Makes it very wrong.
All right. So, but it's legal in America.
Right.
So why the is R. Kelly doing all this time? And because you know why? Because they're 14 and 2 years younger. You don't think that the people who cleared it for 16 years old didn't know that they're with 13 and 14s too?
And weeks after Coi Leray publicly cut ties with Benzino over this, Benzino fired back at her with this from the famous and wealthy podcast.
And about the R. Kelly situation, and said that she doesn't want to have anything to do with me no more because of the R. Kelly thing. And I'm saying, but then, right, about 4 months ago, she's on the Math Hoffa show, and Math Hoffa, which I thought, was a kind of crazy question, but hey, she's, like she said, she's grown, you know what I'm saying? She's of age. I don't think they're grown sometimes, but anyways, all right. But he asked her, hey, when did you lose your? She said 14. And now first, right, I didn't know, you know what I'm saying, right? So I'm like, so here you are condemning me for saying what I'm saying, which is grown folks conversation, which I never mentioned you, which really you shouldn't even really involve yourself, because this was the conversation that I'm having. But since you did involve yourself, is what you do, all right? How can you say that when you just said that you lost your virginity at 14? So is the guy that you lost your virginity at 14 with, is he a pedophile?
And boy, this story has since gone viral. Excuse me, dude, over 76,000 likes, everyone in shock. And some are even suggesting, can we thank Eminem once again for completely ending this man's career and magazine? And some had to double check. Dog, this ain't even a misquote. I just seen the clip. He said that ish word for word. And even on the Breakfast Club, they believe it is time both Benzino and Coi Leray just get off the internet and handle their business in person. Check out some snippets.
I mean, I would like to see either Coi Leray and Benzino, because that's what it feels. It feels like Coi Leray and Benzino don't have a relationship, and they learn so much about each other, listening to each other on different platforms. Right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And y'all are father and daughter. Y'all should sit down and have a conversation.
Well, they need to stay off the internet.
I mean,
that's the most thing.
They're going to be on the internet, but maybe they don't need to be talking about each
their
other.
Relationship.
If you hear something about your daughter on a podcast, or you hear something about your pops on a podcast, how about y'all talk to each other?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of playing it out on line.
On social media, or in these podcast interviews.
And some have now concluded with a dad like Benzino who needs enemies. And I'll be looking forward to your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.